Hello and welcome to AllGen's Money Brews, where we talk about money and life over the brew of the day. It's the usual for me, quad espresso. What do you got going on?
Well, since it's kind of Christmas time, I'm having the Hispanic version of eggnog, coquito.
Ooh, coquito.
We have our friend Paula. She makes the best one. You got to call her if you need any.
And all joking aside, it is the holidays,
Yeah.
It's the time of giving, and with that in mind, you had an idea to talk about lending to family.
Yes.
And I really, really want to unpack that idea a little bit more, because borrowing and lending money to people you care about, friends or family, can be a challenging situation to navigate.
Yeah, and the idea to talk about this today came from a client who is a young client, and she said that her parents asked her for money because they're building a home. And so we had to have this conversation, and I thought, well, I know that I've had to deal with that situation. I know she's dealing with it. It's got to be, you've got to be dealing with it as well, or you've dealt with it before at some point in your life. So I figured let's talk about this because it is an important subject in terms of how you feel about lending money to family. And I think it goes back to just how comfortable are you lending money to family members or even friends? So how do you feel about that?
So I think when we're talking about comfort and defining comfort for everyone, it's going to be different. It's different for you. It's different for me. It's different for you. Mm-hmm. For me, I've grown up with this feeling around money that I never want to have money become a wedge between me and people that are important to me. So I tread lightly around the idea of either asking for money or conversely lending it. Mm-hmm. I'm of the opinion that it's always a gift. If someone came to me and they ask me, and it's happened in the past, and I've been in a position where I have the disposable resources to share, then it is a gift. And if I can't walk away from that interaction, where if I'm giving money that I need back, then I'm not in a position to give. And that's kind of been my rule of thumb. But how about for you?
Yeah, I have a rule of thumb. And so number one is, why does this person need the money? So if it's usually a person that, perhaps, works hard and just right now is in a situation where they just need the money but they have a plan to pay it back.
Okay.
If at any point in time I've given them money and they, without me asking, I feel like that's my biggest rule of thumb. Will I have to ask this person to give me my money back? If I think, yes, I'm going to have to ask the person, when are you going to pay me back? Or, how are you going to pay me back? Then more than likely I'm just going to ask them, what do you need help with? Do you need a resource? Do you need guidance? Especially as a financial advisor, I can provide that to them if they need it. But if I think I'm going to have to kind of, be calling them or, I don't want to feel uncomfortable asking for the money back. So usually that's the case. Also, same thing, there are situations where somebody might ask for something and I think, you know what? This person's going through a tough situation. They might need the money, but it's just going to be a gift. If I get it back, I'm going to be very surprised and very, happy and gratefully surprised. But if I don't get it back, then it's going to be okay. And I never put myself in a situation where I'm going to be financially hurt in terms of, giving large sums of money, which was the case with this client that I had, which had to give a large sum of money, but that was going to really impact her financial freedom, or financial freedom plan. So that's kind of my rule of thumb in terms of how I lend money to friends and family.
And this is not to discourage any of us,
No.
and you from sharing it can be a very difficult resources to acquire, so it makes it a little bit challenging to share. But I would argue that it's some of the most wonderful experiences that I've shared have been around the idea of giving freely. I, without going into the details, my wife and I made a very large, there's no other way of saying it, a purchase on behalf of family that's important to all of us, that we care about, and we gave it with no no desire to ever have that gift reciprocated.
No expectation.
No.
Yeah.
And it was truly some of the most genuine, sincere satisfaction that I have ever had around money. It felt so good to be in a position to help, and it was just the joy that I saw on their faces made all of it completely satisfying, and it was something I'm grateful that I had that experience, to be quite frank.
Well, and I think the other point is that's what you'd want to be in a position where you just like, if somebody needs money, they come to you, and then you just say, okay, here you go, like, and I don't expect to get it. That's where I would want everyone to be. I want to be in that situation where people can come to me when they're in time of need, and they can ask me for something. I can freely give it to them. But again, if that's not the case, and if you think that you do need the money back, then I do have to say, think about who you're giving it to, why this person is needing it. Are you going to have to go back and ask them, have that uncomfortable text or uncomfortable call, uncomfortable conversation while you're having dinner during Thanksgiving? And if that's the case, then perhaps just ask, what do you need a resource? Do you need some guidance? How can I help you in another way that's not necessarily monetarily?
So really, with that in mind, it's there's not a right or wrong. It's a very personal thing. Family's personal. How you interact with money is very personal. Yeah. And it really comes down to what you're comfortable with, what it is that you need in return when you make that donation, where are you personally, and setting terms not just for the borrower, but as the lender or the giver for yourself. So that way you have your expectations fully satisfied.
Yeah, before you even do that.
And ultimately, as we've closed in the past, money measures your net worth, but it truly never measures your self-worth. So please don't ever put the emphasis on money around the relationships that you keep. And
don't forget to subscribe to our channel, share with us, have you ever had this, how do you feel about the situation of lending money to friends and family? What are some of the situations you've had to deal with? And subscribe to our channel and our social media, and we'll see you during our next Money Brews.
We're looking forward to sitting with you again soon. Wow.
It was fine. It was something silly. It really wasn't anything bad.
This week's of skeletons in your closet. Good to know. All of you know, Paula, Coquito. The number's going to be down below right here.
Happy thoughts. Happy thoughts.